Welcome back. Now let's get down to business. And Kenya's growing public debt has sparked fresh concerns, with civil society now stepping up efforts to push back against what they term as illegal borrowing practices that can be curtailed during the budget-making process. The Kenya Christian Professional Forum has presented a petition to the National Assembly to ensure they comply with Article 220, subsection 1 and Article 221 of the 2010 Constitution during the 2025-2026 budget-making process. Let's get more from our very own Faith Kaulu.
Various people and agents were reorganizing them.
Kenya's growing public debt continues to spark fresh concerns, with civil society now stepping up efforts to push back against what they term as illegal borrowing practices. As of September 2024, Kenya's public debt hit 10.79 trillion shillings, amounting to 67% of the country's gross domestic product, a figure that not only surpasses the statutory debt ceiling of 55%, but also raises questions about fiscal prudence.
Development expenditure and what they borrowed.
In response, the Kenya Christian Professional Forum, KCPF, has presented a petition to the National Assembly urging lawmakers to uphold Article 220, subsection 1 and Article 221 of the 2010 Constitution as they embark on the 2025-26 budget-making process.
It is a petition to the National Assembly concerning the failure of the 2024-2025 national budget to comply with Article 220, Sub-Article 1 of the Constitution. Our concern is informed by the fact that contrary to Article 220, Sub-Article 1 and Article 221 of the Constitution, 2024-2025 and the previous budgets contained only the estimates of expenditure, while advently concealing the estimates of revenue from the public.
With Parliament now preparing to receive the revenue and expenditure estimates from the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury, John Mbadi, KCPF says its petition is a step towards ensuring transparency and accountability in how the country borrows and spends public funds.
The Cabinet Secretary National Treasury for 9 months borrowed Kenya shillings 1 trillion 045 678 251 756 against the development expenditure of approximately 170 billion, thus incurring odious debts of Kenya shillings 874 844 125 285.
They contained odious and lawful borrowing of 974 billion that was not contained in the Appropriation Act 2024, nor linked to the budgeted development projects. This notwithstanding that the National Assembly approved in the Appropriation Act 2024 the borrowings of 277 billion. In the development expenditures estimates of finance, the budgeted development projects.
The forum is also calling for the publication of revenue estimates, not just expenditure, as mandated by the Constitution. This, they say, will promote realistic projections and help curb overestimation that often leads to unlawful borrowing.
This borrowing spree is enabled through overriding controls envisaged in Article 220, Sub-Article 1, at the 221 of the Constitution due to an inclusion of estimates of revenue in the Appropriation Act.
Failure to legislate the estimates of revenue created a loophole enabling the National Executive to go on a borrowing spree without the control of the Appropriation Act. This has resulted in a sustainable outstanding debt of Kenya shillings 10.9 trillion by December 2024. Thus putting a heavy burden on Kenyans' taxpayers.
As scrutiny over Kenya's debt management intensifies, civil society maintains that legal compliance and transparency must be at the heart of the 2025-2026 national budget process so as to uphold public trust and safeguard the country's fiscal future.
And all we want to tell the government is, round here tuko macho. We are actually watching, and we hope that you do the right thing and follow the law in developing this year's budget. I do this, and then up to here.
As the 2025-2026 budget debate intensifies, the message from civil society is now clear that Kenya must borrow responsibly, transparently, and legally. The question that lingers now is whether the National Assembly will consider this petition and act accordingly. Faith Kaulu for Hope TV Newswatch.